Object pronouns in Portuguese replace nouns that function as the object of a verb. Instead of repeating a noun, we replace it with a pronoun. Direct object pronouns replace the direct object of a verb, which is the person or thing that receives the action directly. They also answer the questions what or whom. And in English, we can have a simple phrase like, I buy the book. What do I buy? The book. Such pronouns in English are me, you, him, her, it, us, them. But in Portuguese, their forms are different, affected by gender and number. Me, che, o, a, nos, os, as. As we can see, some Portuguese pronouns are logical, but others are affected by gender and number, like o, a, os, as. These words borrow the same form of definite articles, so do not confuse them in this context. Even so, the language has the word vos, no accent, which is part of the obsolete subject vos, with an accent. Because this word is very rare in Portuguese, the grammatical and traditional pronoun vocês has replaced it, using os, as as its direct object pronouns. Vos can still be found in literary European Portuguese, but for simplicity, I will not cover it in this lesson. In any case, the true direct object pronouns are me, che, o, a, nos, os, as. Now, we can see their placement, which can be tricky, because pronoun position depends on grammar, regions, and dialect. In Brazilian Portuguese, pronouns typically come before the verb in formal writing, like saying eu, o, vejo. Eu, a, conheço. Nós, os, encontremos. But, in daily speech, people often use subject pronouns after the verb. Eu vejo ele. Eu conheço ela. Nós encontremos eles. On the other hand, European Portuguese usually puts pronouns after the verb. Specifically, the pronoun is attached to the verb with a necessary hyphen. Vejo. Conheço-a. Encontremos-os. At the same time, some words make pronouns come in between, like negatives, questions, indefinite words, and relative pronouns. Não o vejo. Quando te chama. Ninguém me ajuda. O homem que me ajuda. This process is called mesoclisis, and it works in both dialects. In simple words, we can see a quick chart that shows every situation. Brazilian Portuguese puts the pronoun before in literary contexts, but in daily speech, subject pronouns are used. In European Portuguese, pronouns attach to verbs, while some words put them in between. Additionally, we can attach direct object pronouns to infinitives and gerunds with a hyphen. Regarding infinitives, the pronouns me, che, and nos attach regularly, like ver-me, to see me, ver-te, to see you, ver-nos, to see us. But third-person pronouns, o, a, os, as, will make the infinitive drop eje from the end and turn into lo, la, los, las, like velo, to see him, conhecê-la, to know her. An example is eu quero vê-lo, I want to see him. This phenomenon is common in European Portuguese and literary Brazilian Portuguese. This placement can be confusing, but luckily, gerunds have a basic attachment. The gerund keeps its ending and simply adds the pronoun, like vendo, seeing him, comprando-os, buying them. An example is estou vendo, I am seeing him. Once again, this is common in Portugal, but formal in Brazil. Depending on the Portuguese that you learn, attaching pronouns is fairly common in both dialects, but gerunds are more unique in European Portuguese. In daily Brazil, you can still hear subject pronouns like estou vendo ele. Now, let's see indirect object pronouns, which replace the person to whom or for whom something is done, thereby answering such questions. An example is, I give the book to John. To whom do I give the book? To John. In English, they borrow the same form, but most of the time they're specified in context with the preposition to or for. In Portuguese, the forms are also borrowed, but some change. Me, che, lhe, nos, lhes. Such pronouns don't just mean me, you, him. They mean to me, to you, to him, basically indicating to whom. Even so, to him and to her have the same pronoun, lhe, and it can be ambiguous in context. To specify the person of lhe, Portuguese clarifies it with a plus a person or the name of a person, like saying, eu lhe dou livro a ele. I give a book to him. Eu lhe dou livro a ela. I give a book to her. The good thing is that indirect object pronouns follow the same placement rules, depending on region and dialect. In formal Brazilian Portuguese, pronouns usually come before the verb. Ela me escreve. Nós te mostramos a casa. In daily speech, there is a unique placement within the pronouns. Me, che, and nos still come before the verb. Ela me chama. Eu te respondo. For lhe, lhes, it's possible to use subject pronouns with the preposition, like para ele, para ela, para eles, para elas. Some examples are: eu dou presente para ele. Ela escreve para ela. In European Portuguese, indirect object pronouns typically come after the verb with a hyphen. Dou-lhe presente a ele. Similarly, negatives, questions, indefinite words, and relative pronouns will put them in between. Não lhe dou presente a ele. Just like direct object pronouns, indirect ones can also be attached to infinitives and gerunds. Regarding infinitives, indirect pronouns are attached to them with a hyphen, without dropping any letters, and not changing form. Escrever-me. Mostrar-nos. Some examples are: quero dar-lhe presente. Preciso escrever-lhe. Unlike o, a, os, as, lhe, lhes do not change after infinitives, so we simply add them with a hyphen. This formation is also true for gerunds. Dando-lhe. Escrevendo-me. Some examples are: estou dando-lhe presente. Estamos escrevendo-lhe. As always, this pattern is common in European Portuguese and formal Brazilian Portuguese. In daily speech, in Brazil, you'll commonly hear subject pronouns instead. Estou dando presente para ele. Estamos escrevendo para ela. In simple words, we can see another quick chart that shows every situation. The difference is that o, a, os, as change form after certain endings, but this never happens with lhe, lhes. The last thing to consider is double object pronouns that combine indirect pronouns with direct pronouns. At this point, the concept can be hard to follow because Portuguese changes the form of some pronouns when combined. It's important to understand that when combining pronouns, indirect ones come first, and then direct ones. This combination will cause some pronouns to change form, specifically lhe. This happens on purpose to avoid two vowel sounds, but the point is that lhe can combine with the direct object pronouns o, a, os, as. The indirect object comes first, and the spelling blends into one word. These forms are very common in European Portuguese, but very rare in Brazilian Portuguese, which uses subject pronouns instead, in speech. The meaning of the words combines to him, to her, with it, them, so the endings agree with the direct object. To better understand this concept, we can see some examples before and after. Dou o livro ao Pedro. Dou-lhe. I give it to him. Mostro a carta a Maria. Mostro-lhe. I show it to her. Dou os livros ao Pedro. Dou-lhes. I give them to him. Mostro as cartas a Maria. Mostro-lhes. I show them to her. Once again, this pattern is very common in Portugal, but in Brazil, it's better to use subject pronouns in speech. Dou o livro para ele. Mostro a carta para ela. Just like previous concepts, placement rules are the same regarding attachments, triggers, infinitives, and gerunds. Some examples are dou-lhe. Mostro-lhe. Não lhe dou. Quem lhe mostra. Quero dar-lhe. Preciso mostrar-lhe. Estou dando-lhe. Estamos mostrando-lhe. In conclusion, this is how direct and indirect object pronouns fully work in Portuguese, and they can be hard because of placement and dialect differences. Still, it's good to recognize combined forms, because you can find them in European Portuguese. In Brazilian Portuguese, the process is easier, because subject pronouns are better used, so in any case, you can see the logic behind placement. Once you've mastered the use of such pronouns, you've covered a hard part of Portuguese grammar, and from here, other concepts will become easy and natural.